Audio recording, video recording. Let's do this.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So typically we talk about Tesla and the world of Tesla and the vehicles and accessories and everything, but there's another side of Tesla that I'd have to say I've never spoken about before because I don't actually own it. So today I'm really excited. I'm joined by Ricky from the YouTube channel 2-Bit Da Vinci, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Tesla solar and just the world of solar in general, and hopefully we can gain enough knowledge here so that maybe hopefully I can go back to my wife and sell it to her and get solar, and hopefully you guys will be able to get further educated as well as myself on solar and what are the benefits and the gains and what you can get from it.
This is definitely complicated. It's like Tesla, oh, they make cars. Oh, well, they also do solar.
Yeah.
And our last video, by the way, was solar panels on a Tesla car. So if you're not already confused,
Yeah, totally.
which they're going to have, the Cybertruck.
Yes.
So yeah, solar is something deeply interesting. Because actually, I don't know if I ever told you this before, but when we started our channel, we were all over the place. I did like some woodworking projects, all kinds of random stuff. We made a video on solar and how I bought my first 5 panels in 2011. So I've had them for like 10 years, right?
Yeah.
By the way, they still look brand new. They're still working perfectly. That's the part of the beauty of it. I mean, what else lasts that long? In that time, I've gone through like 2 or 3 cars.
Totally.
So the first thing I think people should know is this is a really long-lasting investment. They're built really well, and they're going to last like 30 years plus. But that video did really well and took off. And I kind of realized, like, yeah, people like coworkers and friends ask about solar all the time.
Yeah.
So clearly, just like Tesla cars, what you do, by the way, thank you for your service as far as like being one of those people in the community that really answers people's questions. I actually have had several people tell me that they learned something from you.
Nice. That's all I want.
So for solar, it's the same thing, which I think lends well for you to start talking about that as well.
Yeah.
I think it's really a question of how you want to spend your money. You mentioned, I think I would prefer to own rather than lease and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to just kind of get your beak wet and kind of learn about it, you could lease, which monthly with different providers, you might be able to get into for kind of offsetting your bill. Oh, I pay $200 right now, and instead I pay $200 to a company for my panels.
Yeah.
And I don't have to have power from some other place.
So I think, like, when we think about electricity and how much you're paying at home, probably many people like myself, we just pay our electricity bill. I don't know anything about what else is going on. I know there's gas and there's electricity. So would you say that there is a secret sauce number to be looking at and go, if you're at this number or higher, you should probably look into solar because it probably will make sense?
Yeah, so you're gonna have viewers in like Texas and Idaho and places where they pay 7 cents per kilowatt hour, and they think, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
And by the way, you have PG&E, which is horrible, but we got you beat with SDG&E. Our prices in the summertime, from 4 to 9 p.m. we have time of use billing.
Yes.
This gets complicated, but we'll keep it simple. Time of use billing, 4 to 9 p.m. in the summertime. We're paying 50 cents per kilowatt hour.
Oh my God. So I think the number one thing is to understand how much you're paying per kilowatt hour, right?
Yep.
That's the actual amount that you're being charged at for how much electricity you're using, whether it be time of day or whether it be one flat. I think I have one flat now, and I think PG&E is going to time of day. So it's good to understand that and understand where that is.
Yeah, there's 2 kind of approaches. One is time of use, which says from 4 to 9 p.m., which is when everybody's trying to use their electricity, prices go up.
Yep.
Midnight to 6 a.m., they're very cheap. So I charge my car midnight to 6 a.m. because in San Diego, if you have an EV plan, you're paying 9 cents, which is a killer deal for California, right?
That is.
The price savings in terms of like compared to gasoline is ridiculous. But if I were to charge at 4 to 9 p.m., it would actually cost me the same or more than filling up gasoline. So that's how radically different the pricing can be. The second approach is baselines, which is if you're a low consumer, like, oh, I don't really use my air conditioning too much, I'm pretty low, then you might pay this much. But the minute you encroach above a certain level, 500 kilowatt hours for the month, then you start paying another baseline tier. So you pay a higher amount. That could be another approach. So first step, get your bills out and see how much you're paying for electricity. And if you live in states like California, New York, Massachusetts, it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
A lot higher than places like Texas or Oklahoma. So first of all, know what you're paying. And then, do you want to make an investment to generate your own power? Because there are some really cool things to that. I have about a 5 kilowatt system. And what's really cool is when you have solar, find out if your state and your utility company will give you net metering, which is, I pay my bill yearly. Okay. So for example, in San Diego, October is bloody hot.
Yeah.
So I had a $160 bill. But my goal or my hope is February, March, April, May, June, I have like -20 bills.
Yeah.
And for the whole entire year, I would have a 0 bill. And based on my calculations right now, if we have a good, warm, sunny, but not too hot May, June, July, August, which we should, I'll have a 0 bill. And by the way, that includes charging my car. So I used to pay $160 in gasoline. That's gone.
Yeah.
So I'm talking my house and my car for like close to 0 for the whole year, which is crazy,
so
right?
When you're paying your entire bill for the year, like, you're really talking about like how, what is that amount?
So yeah, so right now I'm sitting at about $250 because October and November in San Diego is still pretty hot. We had the air conditioning running, so we're sitting kind of like there. The next couple months, there's not as much sunlight, so the generation goes down, but the usage goes down too.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of like around 0. But the months where we can clean up are like March, April, May, June.
Right.
Those 4 months, I might have like -30, -40 bills. And those all added up the whole year, you know, 200 here, -20 here, and you add it all up,
Yeah.
you want to be close to 0.
And what goes on with, because I know this thought has gone on in my head, is like heater. When you're using the heater, now my heater is a gas heater, so that's not counting electricity. Nope. But gas is generally a lot cheaper.
Way cheaper, yeah.
Okay.
It's less efficient because electric heaters are like 100% efficient, but electricity is way more expensive.
So have you moved to using electric heaters in the house just
No.
because you have the solar?
Good question. No, I don't want to do that because I'd have to get like
Yeah, it's
like
not
2,000.
pretty.
Yeah, I'd have to get like 10 more, 50 more panels. So my dryer, my range, my stove, my heater is all gas. And the way I see that is I have tons of trees on my property.
Yeah.
And that's just tree food. Like
Yeah.
we don't use it that much, and it's not really a huge consideration. But there are people I know that I've gotten commenters who have 100% sustainable homes.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my patrons, Karthik, if you're watching, you know who you are. He actually lives around here, by the way. He's a Bay Area guy. He works at Google, and he has a 0 net energy home. He has enough solar.
That's amazing.
He's converted everything over to like his dryer and all the really high high usage utilities, and he's purely net 0.
That is amazing.
But that does get pricey because then you have to talk about batteries too. And that's the one thing, I didn't want to complicate this too much.
Yeah.
But Tesla Raj, like power walls are a big deal.
Yeah.
They're hard to get.
I mean, while we're still talking about the solar, you know, we're paying it like yearly. We're seeing the cost difference. But of course, there's the investment, right? That initial investment. So whether you buy it or whether you lease it, there's still that upfront cost. So when you bought you've had yours for a while now, so you're probably nearing paying those off.
Yeah.
But what today is looking at about, you know, Tesla has today, so what they've said, has the most affordable solar panels. What's the return on investment? Because most people want to know that, like, hey, if I'm going to drop, you know, 25K now, how soon am I going to see that money back? Or what's the return on investment today now?
Yeah, great question. So in 2011, it was not very good. It was like 10 years for me.
Yeah.
So I have recouped my initial investment, by the way. Today in California, it's closer to 5 at this point, which is pretty good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because the prices don't go down.
Yeah, of course.
News alert, yeah, your electric bill is never going to go down. It
5
just keeps
years
going
and
up.
you're paid off your solar. That's usually about the time that you're staying in a house. I mean, most people are staying, you know, 10, 20 years in their home. I do for mine. I know I have to incorporate in that there's going to be a roof change. So you have to think about that. There is a cost to removing the solar, changing out your roof, and putting the solar back on. So that needs to be thought of too.
Do you have a shingle roof?
Yes.
All right. What you should do is wait like eight years from now and go Tesla solar glass roof.
That's the other thing too.
And call it a day. I have a concrete asphalt roof, which is like a 100-year roof.
Yeah.
So I just went ahead and said, you know, I'll just add panels. But if your roof is in bad shape, the first thing you should do, at least get a quote and figure out what Tesla's solar glass roof will cost.
Yeah.
And from what I've been hearing, I've actually talked to some installers, pretty competitive compared to a new roof plus retrofit solar.
That's right. I haven't even thought about that. So then, just kind of wrapping this, is that then there's the third piece of the puzzle is the storage, right?
Yes.
So Tesla offers what's called power walls, right? They're just large batteries. So now you're sucking in the energy from the sun, you're converting that into energy, but you either use it right away or you essentially lose it. So now there's a way to essentially store it. Do you have power walls?
I do.
Okay, so
I actually have a video where I talk about everything, like the ultimate buyer's guide. We'll put a link in that description. But here's the thing. Solar is really affordable now. The prices have dropped, and we've been making, and the manufacturing levels are just so high that the prices are really great today. And the tax incentives, by the way, dwindle down.
That's right.
So we're at 26% today for the federal tax credit here in the U.S. That goes down to 22 and then goes away entirely.
So 26% of what your total cost is for the solar,
correct,
you're getting back at a federal tax break, which that's huge. I thought it was big for $7,500 on my car back when it was, but here we are on solar.
If you paid around $21,000, you'd get $7,500, kind of in that range for solar as well.
Amazing.
Absolutely. But now the storage is still a little bit expensive. And the reason why really is Tesla uses every cell they possibly can to sell every car they can. There's a shortage. There's not a lot of surplus battery currently. So for that reason, it's going to kind of continue to be a little bit expensive. A Tesla Powerwall here installed probably run you about $8,500.
Okay.
And the return on investment there is harder to quantify.
Yeah.
But the way, part of it, for me, it was like backup energy in the event of an outage. Exactly. So even if you have solar, by the way, and people don't always know this, if you have solar but no battery, when the power goes out, you're out of power. Even at high noon when the sun is shining, you have no power. Because these panels and like the inverters are built that if the grid goes out, they just cut out. Otherwise, you'd be putting power back to the grid. And if there's like a line worker, you could potentially do some damage, right? But if you have a battery, it charges up. We had an outage a couple of months ago, and we barely noticed.
It's
like
invaluable.
A light slightly flickered. Other than that,
I've been through an outage where my entire fridge had to be tossed. I mean, it's absolutely invaluable. And I had this while having a baby too.
Yeah.
So the precious milk that's in the fridge. I mean, you can't. It makes up the cost. At least I know here in California, we've seen a lot of outages, the fires and things like that. So very valuable. Still a little high cost. But hopefully maybe we see those come down with Tesla making their own batteries. So that might be the future of, the Powerwall technology.
Yeah, so we have tons of solar in California. In fact, on really hot summer days, we have so much solar at noon or 1 o'clock with the high time that we actually throw it away. We curtail it. There's nowhere for it to go, and it just gets discharged. So what we need is storage. Storage is the name of the game. If you want to clean up our act and clean up the grid, if everybody had a Powerwall or two, the load requirements and the management would just be so much simpler. So that's really the key now. So I kind of think the next 10 years, if the last 10 are about solar, the next 10 years are about batteries.
Yeah.
But Tesla does offer all of it. So
absolutely. Well, I think that was extremely valuable information, Ricky. Thank you for sharing that. And hopefully you guys, got something from that, know more about solar, are probably going to take your first steps into solar. If you are, there's a link down below which will give you credit towards your solar purchase if you're interested in doing that. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. We'll be down there and we'll help answer some of those questions. But thanks for watching, Ricky. Thanks again. And check out Ricky's channel. I'll put a link to it down in the description below.
Thank you, Raj. Always a pleasure.
Yep.